today. History! My history. The history of one of my favorite kings. Philip! Or Philip II, as he is to all of you. I would like you guys to help me with this today. So if I could get a volunteer who wants to be Philip, that would be fun. I need a Philip and a Charles. You can both come up here. You can be Charles, and you can be Philip. Charles, if you will sit here. Charles V is actually during this time the king of the Holy Roman Empire. If you will sit here and be my Philip. Philip is actually a prince when we're going to start out right now. And what happened is Charles decided he wanted to go to war with France. So right now Spain is actually fighting against France in this war, and it's going on, going on, going on. So what happens is Philip comes around and he decides that he's going to help in this awesome quest to take down France. And the only way they can do that is with money. Right now, England is one of the few countries that has a lot of money, and they're not quite involved with the war yet. They're kind of sitting there on the sidelines. So Philip decides that he's going to marry the Queen of England, who is at the time Mary. If I could get someone who would be Mary for me. Thank you. Take the pink crown and the last seat. But this didn't happen overnight. We had some major problems with this. One, Spain isn't near England. So Mary couldn't see Philip. They didn't know if it was going to be her true love. So what happens is we have this really crafty advisor. And his name is Renaud. Yeah, Renaud. We're just going to stick with that even if it's not right. I need someone to be Renaud. You get sunglasses. I have no more. Well, I have one more crown, but that's for Elizabeth. I'll be Renaud. I'll be Renaud. And what happens is I'm going to come over here. Hey, Mary, there's this guy over here, Philip. Philip's really nice. He's really cute. He's really nice with ladies. Don't you want to get together with Philip? Philip would be awesome.
Cooper Duffers brand?
England.
Only a flat would believe this rubbish.
England, we're speaking the language of nations today. I gave them all the ability to.
You just can't give that away.
Why not? It's a perfectly good excuse. They didn't speak Spanish, I didn't want to speak English, so the language of nations.
Well, since this idiot has already done it, might as well.
Oh. It's okay. Protect me. Anyway, so Mary over there, the English had someone else they wanted Mary to marry. Obviously, they didn't like the idea of her marrying a Spanish prince, even though my Spanish prince is totally awesome and totally cute at the time. So, they have English Parliament over there. England can be the English Parliament. And they're trying to get Mary to marry this other guy whose name I don't recall, because he's not important and doesn't marry the Queen.
I'm not going to correct you.
But you know what? I'm better as Renaud, and Mary and Philip send letters to each other. It's a great idea, right? Can't send the king or the queen, so they exchange letters. And in a heart-wrenching moment, Philip sends Mary a letter that lets her know that he will do anything Her Majesty desires. And Mary falls in love.
Unfortunately, he also gave her a portrait of the fool.
Yeah, that portrait, the Spanish Empire has no knowledge of.
Sure they don't.
Exactly. I think Renaud did it. He was one of yours, wasn't he?
Not that I recall. And unfortunately, from that point on, Mary was obsessed with him.
It's okay. We sent them a lot of money. You should have seen this necklace Philip sent her. It got lost over time, taken back, destroyed, kind of given to the third wife. But that's okay, because oh my gosh, it went for $13 million recently in auction. That was the cheapest of the wedding gifts we sent to Mary.
Shouldn't we be seeing some of that $13 million?
It was our queen. We reclaimed it and actually gave it to the third wife, who later died of influenza. Sad day.
Does anyone else notice a pattern here? First wife dies, third wife dies, second wife dies.
Okay, the second wife. And then the fourth wife dies too, but that's another story. Anyway, Philip, you are madly in love with the first wife. She was Portuguese. You had your one and only son with her. He's kind of like the black sheep of the family, but that's okay. We'll ignore him for the rest of this. And then your third wife died to save your life because she told God to take hers instead of yours. see? You're a lover, not a fighter. So you go, and our major idea was that England was going to be ours. And once we had it, we had all of England's money and wealth, and we could send his men to France, and we could defeat France.
Yeah, this is the little thing that we have called the Magna Carta.
Which we didn't think about. We thought once we married Mary, we could just like push Parliament aside and take over. The English are really picky about the Parliament. So we couldn't do it. So I avoided England. I was out on mercenary ships. Philip spent time with Mary. Lots and lots of time, while Charles over here is angry. He is not winning his war with France, and he has no new people. So what he does is he sends bunches of angry letters to Philip. Now, Philip doesn't really like Mary at all. Not that you're not pretty or anything, but the real Mary, if you look up her pictures, not a looker. Not a looker at all. Very, very skinny lady. So Philip is...
She was beautiful in her youth.
Yeah, that's not when they're married. Anyway, so Philip is getting letters from Charles about how he should get the English to go, and we should have money, and we should attack with English ships, and I'm still jingling. So what they decide to do is that Philip is going to escape Mary. He's the perfect gentleman weather there, takes her on long walks to the park, holds her hand, is all loving, the perfect husband. And then he leaves.
And doesn't come back.
He comes back.
When he wants something.
We needed troops, and then she was dead. We came back for the funeral.
Hardly the image of a loving husband.
We sent letters of love and devotion. Right? Love and devotion? That's what we have. And Charles over here, he got his English troops much too late. So, we're going to kill Mary?
Unfortunately.
I'm sorry, Mary. We need to kill you and replace you with Elizabeth.
Oh, man.
Round of applause for our Mary.
So, now we need Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's already my name.
Oh.
We have a new crown.
Don't worry,
Wait,
we have
shouldn't
other
you do
things
the
that
crowning? I'm staying.
Yes, you cannot crown my queen.
I did earlier. And I helped your queen get her throne, actually.
Sorry. There we go.
In order for the English to claim Elizabeth as their actual, new queen, they had to declare their last queen an illegitimate child.
Well, you look at Henry's reign.
Henry had a lot of fun. A lot of fun with a lot of ladies, and then he killed them afterwards, because they didn't give him sons. So, Elizabeth is now queen, and she actually has a really, really difficult reign, actually getting onto her throne. So Philip's going to play nice with Elizabeth. He attempts to set her up with a lovely, lovely guy named Alba. Alba is eventually going to be the guy who murders all of Flanders.
Yes, just so lovely.
And
We already had one massacre in England. Why not another one?
And he is the guy who helps me keep the Netherlands, because they were mine, and they needed to be Catholic and not Protestant. She's Protestant. We play nice with her.
Protestantism works for us. Why not?
The English. So, Charles over here is really, really good with the Pope. So what Charles decides is that English need to be Catholic. Everyone needs to be Catholic. So they decide that they're going to send an advisor to Elizabeth, and his name is Pole. Now, Pole is the twice removed bastard child of one of the queens that Henry, Elizabeth's father, one of his wives' persons, before she was beheaded and her brother was beheaded, they fled him from the country, so he lived. So they decided this guy was a cardinal, so he should go back to England and help bring back Catholicism. Does someone want to be Pole for me? You want to be Pole? Okay. We have sunglasses for you. The sunglasses are
Unfortunately, my dear, in our view, you are the embodiment of all evil.
We like you. I broke mine too. Just hang on to them. So we have Pole in England, and we have Elizabeth in England, and Philip decides he's going to go fight with the Turkish, and we're still at war with France. Charles over here decides that he doesn't want a civil war to go on in England. That he wants Pole to come in and just to help the Catholic faith. Pole decides that he has his own agenda, and what he's going to do is he's going to take back all the land that was the churches that had been divided out amongst the nobles, and he was going to make it his. back and switched out Elizabeth, we still play nice with Elizabeth. Every time Philip or one of his advisors comes, he talks to Elizabeth because he likes Elizabeth and knows Elizabeth will one day have the throne. Okay, so go help Mary start a blood flow bath by killing everyone who's Protestant that will give back the lands that belong to the church. Yep, that's you. Just gonna stand back over here now. Okay, so they're killing all the Catholics. Not all the Catholics. They're killing all the Protestants. We like the Catholics. We're at war with Turkey, we're at war with France, and we're not getting anywhere. Now we can kill Mary. Paul, you can go sit back down. Mary, Elizabeth.
Mary dies of illness. We do not behead her. We do not do anything of the sort. She dies on her own.
She died of a broken heart because she missed her poor Philip who was busy at war.
Yeah, I still don't know what she's calling him.
He was an amazing talker. He was great. Anyway, so Spain's been fighting with Turkey, Spain's been fighting with France, Spain is now broke.
However, we still have money.
I still have the wrong queen. I really want Elizabeth on the throne, can you tell? Mary, if you'll just stand here and look pretty so Elizabeth can be on the throne and I'll remember my history, we'll be all good. So Charles over here is mad at Philip for going to war with Turkey. Because why would you send troops to Turkey? We're at war with France. We must take down the French, whose king is Henry II, by the way. So Charles gets Philip to go back to Mary and nicely convince Parliament that he can pay them lots and lots of money if they give him troops. So they give him troops, because that's how this works. He eventually escapes from Mary and goes back to France. And they go through, and the English are really, really good fighters.
You notice how every time that she leaves, it's that they escape from Mary. Like they don't want to be here.
I was giving you a compliment. Anyway, the English are lucky fighters. Let's change that. They're really, really lucky fighters. Not good, not skilled at all. And they punch through France's defenses up towards England, which is really, really good. Well, Philip is a very, very cautious guy, and he doesn't want all those poor English souls to die. So he holds them at this major town that they actually managed to take. Instead of making them march all the way to Paris and go from one battle to another, isn't he such a kind leader? And anyway, the French regain themselves, they take their army, because we're fighting in Italy too. We're fighting in Turkey, we're fighting in Italy, we're fighting in France. We're fighting in France over Italy, because he's trying to take my Romano. That's not your fault, is it? You're not France. I'm sorry, England. Anyway, so we go through, and Philip decides, France decides, Henry decides. France is probably
Might as well blame the frog.
Yes, we'll blame the frog for all Henry's wrongdoings. Henry was a good guy. I met him 3 times. Anyway, so Frog decides that Italy is not important anymore. We must protect the homeland. It's probably a good idea. So he marches his happy little army all the way from Italy to Paris. And yeah, we kind of lose all this land the English had kind of gained in France. And all the ports they had held before, they were involved in this war too. And then the France might have crossed the channel and attacked actual England on top of it.
Such a great king that we have.
He was protecting your dudes.
At the loss of land, lives.
You took your, he didn't actually take any of your island. Okay. Now we're going to officially kill Mary. For the last time. I love you, Mary.
How about you? You were a hand guy. It's just like, woo!
I killed her 3 times in the wrong order. Yeah, we didn't like Mary. Anyway, so he came, seen Mary on her deathbed. Poor Mary. Talked with Elizabeth, tried to hook her up with the Alba guy. Didn't work. So he tried to hook her up with another advisor guy. The goal is to keep her in Spain, right? We want her married to the Spanish, so the Spanish have some pocket into the English non-existent funds, so we use all their money too. Aren't we awesome?
But the English people didn't really like that whole massacre of the Protestants. In fact, we kind of hated it. So we want nothing to do with the Spanish at all.
And we finally decided with France that we didn't actually want to fight anymore. We were going to ignore Charles, and we made peace. But in order to make peace, we made England give up something that they owned. Sorry, England.
Well, you're right.
Well, because they were married, and the French were like, well, they're married, and you're fighting together, so we should take English land. And somehow the French ended up with it. But that's okay. England goes to war and gets it back later. It's all good, right? It just costs much, much, much money. Anyway, so we're ignoring Charles now. We don't care about Charles. We are our own individual person, and our first goal is Spain. Our second goal is Catholicism, but our first goal is Spain. Cool, right? You're not king, by the way. You were made king by him, king of Naples, when you married Mary. Before that, you were a prince. Now you're king of Spain. You are not in Spain. You just spend a lot of time traveling, so your sister-in-law actually runs the country. Yeah. Somehow we got out of war with Turkey. So we are no longer in war in Italy because France retreated and it's ours. We are no longer in war with Turkey because, yeah. We are no longer in war with France because we decided we were going to make a treaty, and now we're broke. But we have these little nasty advisor people who are like whispering in his ear, not me, I was totally in the New World at the time, that are whispering in his ear and telling him, you should take over England. Take England, take England, take England, take England, because they're weak. They have this new queen, she kind of got the throne, and at the same time other people have the throne, so we can go through, send an army, and punch through England's defenses.
But Elizabeth is a very shrewd woman. This is why we like her.
Yeah, she kind of backtalked and was mean to Philip and undermined everything Philip had tried to set up for all of these years. It didn't work. So Philip decides we're going to focus on Spain, because that's all what's important, right? Well, the Netherlands, which belongs to Spain, so we focus on it, decides that they don't want to be Catholic anymore, they want to be Protestant. So this Alba guy that we tried to marry off to Elizabeth that didn't quite work, he was our champion in Italy, by the way. He was awesome in Italy. We sent him to the Netherlands and he decided to kill everyone. And then we proceeded to tell England not to look. We didn't want England to look at what was going on in the Netherlands.
So, of course, you're going to look.
We're killing all the Protestants.
We have a problem with this, because we're Protestant. What's to stop them from coming after us? Again.
Yeah. This didn't turn out pretty for us, by the way. So we get kind of politically attacked, I guess is the best way to say it, and they're blaming poor Philip for all of this. Philip's not the problem. It was this Alba guy who was crazy. He once boasted that he killed on Easter 800 guys. Not a pretty man at all. So we make Alba our scapegoat. I mean, it can't be Philip's fault for all this, right? Philip is the good guy. So we decide that we're going to make Alba our scapegoat, and he goes crazy. Goes really, really crazy. By the way, he's really, really rich. He's got a lot of money now. And he fights back, and this is what happened before Flanders, is he decides that he's going to make Flanders his. Really, he's going to wipe out all the Protestants, which is most of Flanders. Yeah. Well, actually, you take care of him. You get rid of him. But during this process that he went crazy, we were sending a ship of gold to him because it was his last payment, and we didn't know he was going to go crazy. And you know those ships, they don't have texting. It's really, really nice that they had texting at that time, so we could tell them to turn that ship around because the English took it.
And once more, we have gold.
Yeah, they didn't have money problems. So what we did, we got back at them. All of their ships that were in our harbors, we just took all the cargo. We didn't pay for it. It was like they took $100 and we took 2 pennies. It didn't work. And then the English retaliated against these like penny ships, and someone was very good about sinking mine.
Can I say, I have talent.
Yeah, talent, my butt. You saved my poor armada.
Yeah, perhaps we should tell them about this.
It wasn't mine. I borrowed it. We borrowed a lot of things. You see, like at one time we borrowed an English fleet, and we used that to take down France. We promised them 3,000 soldiers, and they were German soldiers, and we took those too. And our armada was mostly borrowed.
However, our fleet was English. Good old Englishmen.
We had more boats. We should have won.
But the English were doing something cool at this time. We designed a whole new ship.
We used old ships from other countries. Remember, borrowing.